For the Emperor!
Spiky Bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Rob Baer from SpikyBits.com, and we've got the Bandai Space Marine Primaris Intercessor action figure. I don't even know if all those words go together, but Primaris Intercessor, Ultramarines, Warhammer 40k, Space Marines, action figure. It's been a long time coming. These were ordered back in October, just finally got it in. Of course, there was a little bit of a delay because of social distancing, but let's compare this figure to some of the classics out there. First up, let's talk about the cost. So I pulled up my old handy dandy email back from, when was this? October 9th, I want to say. October 9th, 2019. Here you can see the Bandai Primaris Intercessor Space Marine action figure, $100 plus $15 shipping. I thought G-Dub had free shipping. I guess not. Sales tax, $8 for a grand total of $123.95 US dollars. So what does all that money get you? Well, it gets you this big box with an action figure inside. I'm pretty sure. It sounds like there's something in there. But I gotta tell you, this box is bigger than I thought it was. It's definitely girthy and lengthy. And it's bigger than, some of the Bandai other action figure boxes out there. This is the Ashigaru Stormtrooper that we showed you quite a few years ago before, the new Star Wars movies and such too. So he's kind of a classic. But we're going to compare him apples to apples to this Bandai beast right here. So this thing is so big, I can't even really get it in the camera, but that's okay. I think we can use our imagination here. It's got some gold foil lettering and such on it, a couple different poses on the back to kind of show you more gold leaf foil, some interesting verbiage about distributors in the US, where it's manufactured, but we knew all that because we saw this hit the port a few weeks ago, so we kind of figured that this would be the first out of the gate. Now this top here is actually a slip case, because they made this one a little bit more fancier than some of the other figures out there. And once you slide this open, it's got this really interesting gold foil on the inside that's very reflective to kind of show you all the details and such. And then you can see it's got the hands and the Ultramarine backpack. The weapons are up front here, but some of the accessories are behind it. So while it does take up the whole case, it isn't quite the same as this guy right here, although the size is pretty much the same. Once you get everything undone and all the packaging off, you'll notice this triple-decker taco of a construction here to get to not only the figure, but also the stuff underneath it. So it's gonna take a minute, but it's probably worth it. Be careful, dig in, and get this beast unwrapped. So here he is out of the box, and you can see he's got some really cool rich blues with some undercoat airbrush fades, it looks like, of like a black or like a really, really dark blue, something like that. That really pops super good with this metallic here that's done, I mean, for the most part, pretty cleanly as far as I can tell. There are some little blemishes and stuff, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit and kind of show you some of those. The backpack is a separate piece that can easily come off, just like that, and you can kind of see some of the unmatte blue paint in there that is the original, and I think they are matted. I think they do like a semi-gloss or something on top of this, and then even the little thrusters kind of, or whoops, I just lost his head, go kind of everywhere. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, when I've been playing with this, pieces just tend to just pop off, and it's super annoying. I'm gonna be straight up, like this little arm, you will watch me playing, I'm not even gonna mess with it right now, but these little arm braces or elbow braces, elbow pieces are just gonna fall off randomly. I don't even care. And some of the gap or some of the joints are like super tight. Like this thing just sometimes makes noise when you turn it. Like it's a really, really tight joint, but not up and down. And then like this knee makes noise, but this knee doesn't make noise. So I don't exactly know what's going on with that. I'm not a Bandaiologist. There's no twisty waist, so he's pretty much, you're just gonna kind of turn him at the thighs right here and kind of do your thing. Back with our extreme close-up. Okay, so head turns left, right, then it bends back, and it's got this little greave thing in the front here, so he can hunker down and make all sorts of crazy, Daizino scum poses with his head itself. And then the shoulder pad, like I said, does this little thing here, and then the arms are super, super posable. I'm actually surprised these little elbow brackets haven't fallen off yet. The hands are switch outable, posable, switch outable, I don't know, configurable, whatever that word is. And I'll show you that here in a second, but you can see lots and lots of joint twists and a bunch of different things. And he has headbutt mode. Ka-cha! So headbutting the scum of the universe since 2020. These little winglet things right here on his thigh, these actually come off. Or they can flip back depending on what kind of pose you want to do. And then the legs and everything really kind of go crazy. Now, I have seen poses where it looked like this was a complete, oh wait, there it goes, I did it. Okay, so you have to give it a little bit of force, and then this piece right here will actually flip back, which now I can't get it back, but that's okay. I guess we'll figure that one out as we get to it. So you can do a full 90-degree bend, which I guess will give you, you know, the bendy legs if you want to post them up doing some bolter shots or something like that. You could now, but I wasn't sure that that actually was a thing. The little tips of his feet wiggle. Even these little things right here, depending on if you want to, you know, do a little sidestep, or if you want to do the top of his toes, that piece moves. These little sides move. So you've really got a lot of posability here, kind of depending on what you're looking to do with his extra weapons. Speaking of which, he's got fisticuffs mode. If you only knew the power of the dark side. Kung Fu grip mode. Kia. Knife attack mode with his combat knife. You call that a knife. Bolter at the ready. And bolter firing not from the hip. Pew, pew, pew. So lots of cool poses you can do. Now, one thing I do want to point out as far as the hands go, you want to be kind of careful when you're inserting any of the weapons into the hands right here, because they are very, very thin, and you can kind of stretch out the little fingers themselves to get around the handle or the grip here on the bolter. But this piece right here isn't as chunky as I would like it to be, but the rest of the bolter looks pretty cool. It's got like a quick black fade over it, and then, you know, it's a little gold metallic paint there, a little red dot on, or a red drop of paint on the sight right there. And as far as, you know, the combat knife too, same exact thing. Just be super careful when you're inserting it into there, but of course, you know, it'll go both ways for sure. Overall, it stands about 6 inches tall, about 6.5, give or take, depending on how you have the little feet kind of strung out. Craftsmanship wise, while I don't exactly like the parts that fall off, you can see in some parts where they basically, it seems like they just clipped these off a sprue and just kind of assembled them. There's an actual glue crazing mark right there. Same with over here. It looks like it was just kind of clipped off a sprue and assembled by somebody right there. And you can see some metal joints and things in there at the knee. Still haven't figured out how exactly to get this piece up right here, but I'm assuming it'll present itself at some point. I'm hoping. I'm holding out hope, definitely, for sure. Here he is compared to another Bandai action figure who is a little bit smaller, but you definitely get an idea that they're about the same scale as the normal Bandai action figures right there. This Ashiragu Stormtrooper, I mean, it's got a lot of movement and things like that, but this Space Marine is definitely way more jointed and has a lot more posability than this guy right here. Here's another classic from the 80s that I think you may appreciate. This is He-Man on Battle Cat, which you might have seen in the background here on the channel with a freshly chewed cat toy mark right there. And he definitely stands up as high as He-Man on Battle Cat, although, well, poor Prince Adam here is suffering from the effects of age, as his joints aren't quite that tight. And once you get him next to the Bandai Space Marine, well, it's clearly no match. I believe the Space Marine is going to be the winner each and every time. I have the power. Now, traveling forward in time, we're going to go to, I guess, the late 90s, early 2000s Spawn action figure whose cape actually ate the packing peanuts that were inside of his box. So I'm gonna have to clean those off later. It's very disappointing. But either way, this is a very cool figure. And actually, Todd McFarlane is going to be doing his version of the Space Marine action figure here in the near future. This actually has real chains right here. So he definitely ranks up to the Bandai Space Marine, but not nearly enough opposability, although it does have a nice little display base that you can use him set up behind you or in front of you at your workstation, whatever you prefer. Hopping back in the 80s, in the Cat Tub Time Machine, we have Ed 209, Ed T209? Ed 209 from RoboCop. This guy gives everybody 30 seconds to comply, but I think when it comes to Space Marines, well, they definitely might not be any match as far as posability and coolness factor. Although I think this only cost about 10 or 15 bucks back in the day. And look, can that Space Marine fire caps? I don't think so. And look at that. Look at that sweet, sweet clicking noise right there. Look at all these posable, like, oh, no, none of that. No contest here. Something that was perhaps invented only to die in the cartoon series. This is a battle android trooper of Cobra from G.I. Joe. And these guys seem to be the only ones that died in the actual cartoons themselves. Now, he does have some pretty nifty options here. You can switch out his hands, just like Mr. Space Marine right there. And you can store his little guns and things in the back right here. And he's got lots of cool posability, and he can do all sorts of nifty drop kicking and things like that. But I feel like when it comes to the Space Marine, well, I think the Space Marine wins. Super slow motion. And then there's the 1970s classic, the Lord of the Sith, Darth Vader himself, with telescoping a lightsaber right there. Look at that. Look at that sweet fade from nearly 40 years of exposure to light on the tip of that lightsaber right there. Oh man, these are classic. Classic vinyl cape. Oh my goodness. Look at this posing right here. 1, 2, 3, kick. They don't quite make them like they used to right here. And we'll just say, for lack of a better term, and the fact that I don't want to actually damage this Darth Vader model, well, it's a tie. And all that aside, how does he compare up to himself? Well, here's Funko Pop's little collectible figure from last year that has all sorts of posy. Oh wait, just the head. It's just the head turns. That's it. I feel like he's overcompensating for something right there. But you know, as far as that goes, well, maybe they'll look cute next to each other. Are you my daddy? And at the end of the day, when all the chips are down and it really counts, how does he actually compare to a normal Space Marine miniature? And here it is. Intercessor versus Intercessor. Well, I feel like he's fighting a Titan at that point, because well, there's not much to compare right there. Well, I hope you enjoyed that walk down memory lane as much as I did, because I love an excuse to play with my toys. So overall, what do I think of the new Bandai Space Marine Intercessor Primaris action figure? Well, I don't think it's worth 100 bucks. It's not even close. I mean, it's cool, but it's just not that cool. And you can already see where it's got, you know, like, why does that make noise and that doesn't make noise? And then the head kind of sometimes makes noise. And I don't know what's going on here. Parts fall off, parts don't fall off. It's cool, but I don't think it's $100 worth of cool. I'm definitely waiting to see what Todd McFarlane does with his Spawn action figure recreation of the Primaris Space Marine. Now, yes, it probably won't be 100 bucks, but it probably won't be 20 bucks either. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what it actually ends up being in the near future, and we'll actually compare it to this bad boy right here just to see how it stacks up. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you fist bump me. Pow! Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and comment on all our videos.